Now, from this vantage point here, you can easily see why I chose this exact piece of ground for the cathedral, so handsomely and conveniently located as it is above the town. Now, to enter into a detailed account of all the circumstances surrounding my application to the authorities for the grant of this land would fill a volume. I will only say that it cost me 5 years of vexation and annoyance, yes, 5 years. I mean, was it really to be expected that I should run the hazards of 12,000 miles of ocean crossings merely to obtain a patch of ground that had been long declared unnecessary, not only for any military purposes, but to any uses of the government? Sure, I could have bought it 10 times over for the money that I spent going back and forth in travel. It was a vacant woodlot. It was used one time by the soldiers over there at Fort Townsend to the west of us. But then, you know, in 1837 a wonderful thing happened. England got itself a new queen, and I a new temporal sovereign, and the following year the young Victoria distinguished herself by bestowing what I consider the first real gift ever bestowed upon the Catholic population of Newfoundland by a British government. The exact piece of ground for which I had so long petitioned and prayed and fought for. 9 acres, 3 rods, and 13 purchase runs all the way back there. I mean, the news come from London. My supporters in the town took possession of it in a very decisive manner by erecting a longer fence around the whole works in a single afternoon. That was pretty clever, wasn't it? Now, if you just go down a bit into that footyard area there now, it don't look like much right now, and watch your step, in case you turn your ankle or something. I'll tell you a little bit about our plans for that area, and then we can have a look at the front of the building. So just right over this way. I know some of you have come a grand distance. Was it a rough ride? Coming here, I suppose it was, eh? It's a lovely sight though, coming in through the Narrows, isn't it? Right this way. Oh, those clouds look ominous, don't they? That's alright, the boys don't mind working in the wet at all. It just keeps right on going. Come right around this way, I think it's best. Now, does anybody here speak Italian? I hope not. Oh, more, that's it. The jig is up. I only know a word or two in the Italian, really. And all I wanted to say is that this churchyard area is more properly referred to as a piazza, which I believe is an Italian term. Yes. And like I say, we don't look like much, but we have great plans for ornamentation and embellishment, statuary and so on. One of the first things we're going to do is, beside that footpath there that leads over to Fort Townsend, we're going to erect an entrance archway. It'll be about 40 feet high, consisting of large granite blocks surmounted by a marble statue of St. John the Baptist. Just I can see that statue now, in the purest Carrara marble, the holy saint, 10 feet high, preaching his message of redemption to the world and holding his baptismal shell in his right hand. It'll be sculpted by the Italian artist Filippo Gerzi. Yes, indeed. And now, St. John the Baptist, as you may know, is the patron saint of the town and one of the patron saints of the cathedral. Now, the other statuary here in the piazza will be of the other patrons. Now, first and foremost, right here in the middle of the piazza, we're going to construct a large marble statue of Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception. She'll go right there, and then we're going to have on either side, and I haven't quite decided yet if we'll put them near at hand or back there by the facade, but we'll have St. Patrick of Ireland on the one side, and on the other, St. Francis of Assisi. Now, you might ask, why St. Francis of Assisi? Does anybody happen to know? He was a builder, he built a great many things. But the main reason he's there is because, although you may not tell it by the look of me at the moment, I am indeed a member of the Franciscan Order, as were all my predecessor bishops in Newfoundland up until now. Now, let's just look at our building. Now, the cathedral is constructed in the style of a Roman basilica. Now, in ancient times, a basilica was really nothing more than a large secular building that was used for commercial or other purposes, that consisted of a large main hall and side aisles. But you see, when the Emperor Constantine converted to Christianity, the Roman basilica became adapted to religious purposes. And the main difference was that a transept was installed about 2/3 the way down the main hall, giving the building the overall form of a cross. And such is our cathedral. It runs 246 feet 6 inches long north-south, and it runs 186 feet 6 inches wide east-west in the transept. Now the facade there is 99 feet across, and then flanked by the two towers, and they're 150 feet high, 300 feet above the water, forming altogether, I think you'll agree, a magnificent edifice calculated to immediately attract the eye of every visitor sailing in through the Narrows on their approach to the town. I'm sure you found that yourself on your recent arrivals. Now, if you'll meet me over there by that, by the East Tower there, I'll show you a couple of more things about the building and a little bit more about my building program.
See the clock, a half hour is different, why an hour?
No, I think that's the boys up there fooling around with.
You must get out of work early.
That could be. I got to keep an eye on it. That's why I'm working with Thurston Martin, because I like to be up there with him. Now, there, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Alright, so far heaven has been very good as far as the rain is concerned. But if it turns into a downpour, I think we'll have no choice but to scurry inside and we'll carry on from in there. But for the moment, I would like to show you what I think is my single greatest accomplishment since coming to Newfoundland. And that is represented by the two great teaching orders who currently inhabit that building right there to our left. For that is the convent and the school of the Sisters of Mercy. Now the Sisters of Mercy came here back in 1842 at my request to see to the education of the female children of that growing middle class that I referred to a little while ago. Now, at the moment, that same convent is being shared with the Sisters of the Presentation of the Blessed Virgin Mary, who also came here, at my urging, way back in 1833, to see to the education of the female poor of the colony. Now, viewing the great influence that females exercise upon the moral character of a society, we can well estimate what a world of good these pious ladies have done in our midst. And the Presentation Convent and School, sad to say, which once existed, beautiful building, and over there at the west end of the city by Long's Hill, was, sad to say, completely and utterly destroyed by fire a few short years ago. And that's why it is my fervent hope, if you just come around the corner here, I'll show you. Over in this area over here, it is my hope that within the year, we will lay the cornerstone for a brand new Presentation Convent and School. And please God, one day we'll see that rising in our midst the same way we saw the Basilica go up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you follow me a little bit further, I'll show you a little bit more about the cathedral.
So this one is new. This building is new.
1850. Fairly new.
Yeah, he's back in time.
He's new in my books. You see, I regard the installation of these two great teaching orders as the greatest single accomplishment of my episcopacy, because it was really only after seeing to the construction of a moral and a spiritual edifice in the hearts and the minds of our children that I did turn my own mind to the great and absorbing work of constructing what I would call the material church. Now, speaking of materials, let's just take a look at the building. Now, the building is faced, as we say, with cut limestone from Galway. most of it, or for a large part from Galway. And then these ornamental touches. Are you actually filming? Are you recording me as we speak? I'm afraid you're going to have to stop that.